they're eating in their cars. It's how much they're eating while they're watching TV. It's the mocha frappuccinos. It's the Ben & Jerry's ice cream at 10 o'clock at night. These are are responsible for about 25% of the average American's caloric intake. The expansion of the beverage market in this country and the number of high-calorie beverages that most Americans consume are probably more responsible for America's weight gain over the past 20 or 30 years than anything having to do with our actual meal sizes.
If there's one thing Morgan Spurlock and I would agree on, it's this. Drinking a 44-ounce glass of high-fructose corn syrup 2 or 3 times a day is nuts. So how much sugary soda am I consuming on my fast food diet? None. In fact, I almost never drink the stuff because I feel lousy when I do.
And furthermore, if you look at those, the religious dry activists, they made all the same arguments about it was bad for your family and it was bad for your health, and they made all the kinds of practical arguments that the public health people make. It's really about the same thing, which is looking at people's risky behavior, deciding people ought not to behave that way, and then trying to enlist the government to get those people to change their behavior.
The modern-day equivalents of the Women's Temperance League are groups like the Center for Science in the Public Interest. Just like the religious dry activists, CSPI believes people are too weak and too stupid to resist giving in to temptation.
Whether they call it king-sizing, supersizing, or a combo deal, for many Americans, it's an offer that's hard to refuse.
So who are these people anyway? CSPI is usually identified in the media as a consumer advocacy group, but they're a little more than that.
The Center for Science in the Public Interest is a very well-intentioned organization, but I think they misrepresent themselves in that they pick and choose the type of science that they choose to endorse if it corresponds with their organization's mission.
They're pushing vegetarianism to a large extent.
They are a vegetarian organization, and that's their real interest. It's not based on public interest or real science.
They're promoting misinformation for the benefit of certain industries.
Actually, they're not really good scientists at all.
CSPI was founded by Michael Jacobson, a vegetarian activist who used to work for Ralph Nader. Over the years, Jacobson and CSPI have warned us about all kinds of dangerous foods.
The Center for Science in the Public Interest, the same group that recently came down hard on the calories in Chinese cooking.
First they said that Chinese food was loaded with fat, then Italian. Now it is Mexican.
Has a new study on the perils of fat and calories in dining out Italian style.
They do not hold back. They do not speak in measured terms. They push things to the limit all the time.
This is a heart attack in a bun.
So stay away from fettuccine Alfredo. Hurley calls it heart attack on a plate.
Have you ever eaten fettuccine Alfredo?
I have.
How many times?
In my life?
Sure, give me a rough guess.
50.
You've eaten 50 servings of fettuccine Alfredo?
Mm-hmm.
50?
Of course, I'm Italian. Love fettuccine Alfredo.
There you go.
I have, last night.
Last night?
That is bizarre.
Maybe 200.
200? And how many heart attacks have you had?
None.
Are you sure?
I think so, yeah.
No heart attacks.
No heart attacks.
None.
Are you having chest pains today?
No.
Any possibility you had a heart attack and didn't know it?
No.
Is there any chance you had a heart attack and you just said, oh, I shouldn't have had the chili?
Possibly.
Possibly.
If all they did was nag us about the foods they don't like, then groups like CSPI would just be annoying and occasionally laughable. But they don't just want to nag us. They want big government to step in and help us make better choices. When McDonald's began putting out nutrition menus, CSPI said that wasn't good enough because people don't want to get out of line to read them. Boy, I really should count my calories and lose some weight, but I'd have to walk all the way over there. Heck with it. So now CSPI wants the government to force restaurants to put nutrition information right on your fast food package, because then you'd finally get smart and stop eating the stuff, which is a load of baloney.
Now, I don't think anyone would argue with the idea that having more information about what we eat and about its nutritional content is a good thing. But the idea that somehow or another, if I was confronted with the fact that my Big Mac is 600 calories would change the likelihood that I ate that Big Mac, I think is a lot of wishful thinking.
Now, if you knew that these were 400, 450 calories, would you just give up fries?
No.
No.
No, probably not.
If there was a warning label on here that said 400 calories, then would you stop eating fries?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
What the critics of the fast food restaurants miss, as usual, is the element of consumer demand and consumer choice. Because from McDonald's perspective, they don't care if people are eating, bacon double cheeseburgers or salads. They will give people what people want.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture has estimated that in order to get people to consume more leafy green vegetables, we would basically have to pay people to eat them.
If McDonald's sold carrots, would you stop eating fries and eat the carrots?
No. I'm not a big fan of carrots.
So you wouldn't order them?
No.
No, because I don't like carrots. I hate carrots. I actually just had vegetables in my Bloody Mary, though, so maybe that counts.
Here, you don't go to McDonald's for carrots. You go to McDonald's for fries.
I don't go to McDonald's for the broccoli.
You don't go to McDonald's for the broccoli?
You go to McDonald's for the hamburgers and the fries.
And the french fries. If McDonald's sold broccoli in like a nice little red package like this, would you go in and say, I want the McBroccoli?
Maybe if they fried it or put cheese on it.
I'm with you on the cheese part.
Yep, we just keep on eating the foods the evangelists say we shouldn't. And they have a plan to fix it.
It was just an average, peaceful day in Washington, D.C. when suddenly a crisis emerged.
Help! Help! Somebody help!
What seems to be the problem, ma'am?
There's an innocent man over there in mortal danger!
You don't mean.
Yes! He's ordering a double cheeseburger!
Gadzooks! This is a job for the guy from CSPI.
Yes, these are the adventures of the guy from CSPI, a tireless promoter of junk science and dedicated to lawsuits, press conferences, and the vegetarian way.
And would you like fries with that?
Yeah, let me have a large...
Stop! Stop tempting this innocent man with your fatty foods.
Who are you?
I'm the guy from CSPI, and I'm here to save you.
Look, I'm not really into the whole Jesus thing.
No. You're choosing bad food because it's cheap. So I'm going to double the price on that double cheeseburger.
But I don't want to charge him double for the double.
And I don't want to pay double for the double.
That's because you're evil and you're stupid.
Using his twin powers of taxation and regulation, CSPI guy quickly doubled the prices on burgers, fries, and desserts, and forced the evil restaurant to offer the customer a variety of munchy, delicious vegetables at a cheap and subsidized price.
There, that ought to do it. It is now safe to order lunch.
But I only have $3 on me.
You can get the tofu broccoli salad for $2.75.
A delicious and healthy choice, sir.
Yeah, right. Thanks, CSPI guy. Freaking jackass.
CSPI guy, you're my hero.
Thank you, ma'am. But it's all in a day's work for the guy from CSPI.
And since we can't be trusted to make decisions for ourselves, we certainly can't be trusted to make decisions for our kids. So the evangelists want to get rid of that whole annoying freedom of speech concept and put a stop to marketing efforts that are directed at children.
If door-to-door salesmen were going around, ringing the bell, and the door is answered by a 4 or 5-year-old, and they're selling them, ice cream and candy and cookies, there would be a legitimate complaint there. But that's not what's going on, and we shouldn't pretend that that's what's going on. There is this intervening force known as parents.
But the guy from CSPI says kids see so many advertisements for junk foods, parents are powerless to say no. Can that be true? Or is that also a load of baloney? To find out, I consulted with a leading expert in the field of child rearing.
So when I was, say, 13, 14, how often did I want to eat at McDonald's?
Well, you probably wanted to eat every night, but if you had a chance.
How often did you actually let us eat at McDonald's?
Oh, probably maybe once a week. I'd let you splurge.
So let me get this straight. I would have eaten there every night.
Right.
You only let me eat there maybe once a week.
Right.
What if I had held my breath until I turned blue?
Well, you probably would have passed out.
Now, do you have kids?
Yes.
How old?
10 and 12.
If they were 50 pounds overweight, would you call a lawyer?
Nope.
Well, what would you do?
Make them exercise, change the diet.
What would you do to try to get him to lose weight?
Exercise. I would take him walking, try to play tennis, basketball, run, swim, probably all in one day.
When I was growing up in Iowa, I would start my day with a nice nutritious breakfast of Sugar Smacks, Sugar Pops, or Sugar Frosted Flakes with full-fat whole milk, then walk to school. Didn't seem like a long walk, and according to MapQuest, it was 0.6 of a mile. But back in those days, the schools didn't feed us lunch. Our moms did. So I'd walk home for, say, a bowl of tomato soup and a full-fat bologna sandwich on white bread with a piece of cheese and plenty of mayonnaise, walk back for my afternoon classes, then home again. By the time 3:30 rolled around, I'd already walked almost 2.5 miles. And that's just the beginning, because for the next 2 hours or so, my friends and I would exercise. We didn't call it exercise. We called it playing outside.
Go to any school these days around 3 o'clock and this is what you'll probably see. Dozens of moms and dads parked in front of the school waiting to give their overweight kids a ride home. And I live in a small school district. Most of these kids could easily walk. The side streets in my neighborhood are usually pretty quiet, but around 3:15 on school days, they look like this. A lot of kids couldn't walk home from school even if they wanted to. Thanks to a handful of judges, millions of American school children spend 2, 3, even 4 hours a day on one of these. Forget about playing outside until dinner time. When these kids get home, it is dinner time. And once kids do get home, the only exercise a lot of them get is picking up a joystick or a TV remote. Numerous studies have shown that the more TV kids watch, the fatter they tend to be. The fast food haters say it's because they see more fast food commercials. Well, here's another idea. Maybe it's because they spend so much time sitting down. Well, most of them anyway. And if you think American kids are inactive, American adults these days are practically inert. We won't even get out of our cars to buy food. Our lives have become so free of physical effort, we go out of our way to avoid it. These are the parking spaces near the doors at my local mall. We get actual traffic jams here, complete with honking horns and colorful language. If you walk out of the mall and into this area, people in their cars will follow you in case you're giving up a close parking space. It's actually kind of creepy. Meanwhile, far away from the doors, the parking lot looks like this. That's my car there. Inside the mall, the escalators get a lot of traffic and people actually wait in line for the elevator. As for the stairs, you could cover these things in super glue and nobody would notice.
Until relatively recently, people typically made a living through back-breaking labor. Typically.
One could argue that our weight gain is a sign of our success. The fact that most of us can eat whatever we want when we want, that most of us don't have to toil in any kind of physical activity, that we're able to amuse ourselves in a manner that's not physically taxing, is something that most people want.
No way would I say, let's go back to the way things used to be so everybody can be thinner. For one thing, they would still be dying much earlier than they are now. I mean, despite the fact that they were fat and were living longer than ever before.
This is 1,450 calories of beef, bacon, bun, and cheese. Hardee's calls it the Monster Thick Burger. Their sister company, Carl's Jr., calls it the Double $6 Burger. The Center for Science in the Public Interest calls it
a heart attack in a bun.
After I eat this, my calorie count for the day will still be about 2,200. If I die after I eat it, I'll have my wife contribute, I don't know, $6 to CSPI.
It's about 1:15 in the morning, and I'm awake because I feel great. Really, I feel great. You know, if I thought I was having a heart attack or something, I probably wouldn't bother setting up a camera. Honey, I have chest pains. Quick, get a tripod. I think I'm dying. Is there enough light in here to shoot? Oh, God, I can barely breathe. Switch the mic to